we want to create like a PsychAlive campus page. And we're interested in the issues that college students typically have while they're going to college. And so we figured, since you work at the counseling center at UCLA, you probably have a pretty good idea of what they are. So I was wondering if there are sort of some key issues that come up for students.
Sure. So I guess I wish that there were kind of a couple issues that people come in that I could kind of spell out easily, but I would say that really there's a huge diversity of things that people come into the counseling center for, which I think makes it really interesting to work there because you're seeing all sorts of different things. But in terms of that question, I guess certain things are maybe more prevalent in college students, or there's some kind of themes that I've seen. So there's a lot of people coming in for help regarding like body image issues and eating disorders. As you would kind of imagine, there's a lot of pressure on, I think especially young people today are getting more pressure about the way they're supposed to look. So that's something that we see a lot of, and I've led groups for people with eating disorders there. There's a huge amount at UCLA, there's a huge amount of anxiety, some related to academic stress. So this is a very highly intelligent group of people who have been thrust into a very, very challenging academic environment with only other extremely intelligent people. And so a lot of people have a lot of academic anxiety around not standing out anymore. These are people who stood out in elementary school and were maybe, skipped grades and were really maybe in accelerated programs. In high school, they were, valedictorians or at the top of their class, and then got into UCLA and with the undergrads to some extent, but definitely with the grad students especially, they're kind of in this increasingly challenging academic group of only the elite of the elite of the elite. And it's really, I guess, anxiety-provoking when you're kind of at the top 1 to 5% in intelligence and suddenly you're somewhere in the middle, and that really freaks people out. Suddenly it's a lot harder to get all A's. So I guess we have a lot of people coming in who are experiencing some sort of academic difficulty, and really it's kind of just a relative academic difficulty most of the time. So that's a couple of things. There's also a lot of people dealing with identity development of different sorts. So I think it's a really interesting age to be talking to people at, because it's oftentimes their first time, especially for the undergrads, their first time maybe living on their own. And there's a lot of kind of figuring out who they are as people in the world in terms of sexuality and how they live their lives, and learning to kind of take care of themselves for the first time, separate from their parents. And so there's a lot of questions that arise, kind of figuring out what they really believe. Sometimes it's separate or different than how they were raised, and that's something that can be really challenging for people. But really, across the board, we see all sorts of issues. So, just thinking of like the age range for college, if you think, I guess this is more traditional students, and obviously there's a lot of people who fall outside of this, but maybe, 18 to 25 or something. And it's also the kind of first stage of onset for a lot of different more severe psychological disorders, and things like bipolar and schizophrenia. Sometimes people are having their first psychotic break as they're also starting to live on their own for the first time, and that can be extremely difficult.